So the next person who's going to be on the podium is Honorable Nodada. Over to you, sir.
Somlomo malunga bekekileyo, fellow South Africans, molweni. Mr. President, the last time I was at this podium, I told you the ANC will not come back as a majority in government. And many in the ANC laughed it off. But the voters backed that statement to ensure that you are no longer a majority. The only thing left is for you to accept that fact. When the DA joined the government of national unity, it was because voters wanted us to leave behind the failed policies of the past 30 years that has plunged more and more people into poverty and unemployment, and begin the project to rescue the 30 million South Africans living below the poverty line, the 12 million unemployed South Africans, and to fight crime for the 87 people murdered daily. To stop cadres being appointed to eat while South Africans with merit are overlooked. To stop the tragic stories like Bonge Kabuso, who poisoned their last bit of food rather than watch her children starve because of the high cost of living. To stop the grand-scale theft and corruption that reached unprecedented levels during Zuma's 9 wasted years. Mongameli, bawuyakhumbula kakuhle phambi kwe-elections ndandithe kuni anibuye nangoku khanibuye kodwa into esasike sayenza kuninenzela inceba saninceda uba manibuye kurhulumente yenzela uba sizanugada ningabi imali abantu baseMzantsi Afrika sizosebenzisana kunye ubhekise lizwe phambili. We joined the GNU because we could not risk giving power to the MK and EFF. Their policies would tank the economy. They are the biggest threat to the poor. They have proven this with the dodgy characters in their benches who gave us load shedding, broke prasa, and stole at grand scale, while the little red minions next door stole poor people's pensions and savings through the VBS Bank. Theirs is a path we must never take, and a path of breakers we must always avoid. They are now licking their lips. You could see them standing in ovation for the Premier of Gauteng, lurking at the door of the GNU, wanting to eat. But sadly, for them, the DA is going nowhere and they won't taste the levers of power. Because the project to build South Africa is far too important to hand over the power to these breakers. Singena nje kulo rhulumente sizogada lamasela namantshontsho ayo uba bangabi imali abantu baseMzantsi Afrika. The DA will help the GNU grow the economy to create jobs so as to lift people out of poverty. Our expertise have already proven that we've made tangible impact in people's lives. We have prioritized digitization and people are getting their IDs. The agricultural reforms will sustain the agriculture sector and create jobs and food security. Turning South Africa into a construction site is delivering the much needed jobs, as you heard this morning. Mr. President, Minister Motsoaledi came here, and I want to say to you, sir, my mother died untimely at the hands of a failing public health system. And us fighting to protect medical aids and quality healthcare, regardless of your economic status, is to ensure that no one else must suffer the same fate. To the many South Africans failed by the public health system, this is not a political game. It is our lives on the line. That is why I strongly believe that the DA can bring helpful changes to the NHI to ensure universal access to quality healthcare. The thing that gives us stomach aches is the completely failed public health system that you oversee, where people go to public hospitals to go get help and they come back in coffins. And your intention to confiscate the medical aids to which millions of South Africans have contributed all their lives. What the ANC doesn't seem to understand is that millions of black South Africans have spent the last 30 years working to free their families from the broken public health system. And it's important for us to protect that right while making sure that more and more people get quality healthcare regardless of the economic status in South Africa. To be open to new ideas, build the economy and create jobs, you need to shift your attitude. You see, Mr. President, attitude is like a flat tire. If you don't change it, you won't go anywhere. Premier Lusufi No amount of arrogance to implement failed ANC policies will change this country for the better. Just today, it was revealed that your government has stolen over 600 million meant for Gauteng NGOs who fight hunger, and this is over and above the fact that you spent over 400 million rand to fumigate schools, because what's most important for you is that cadres must eat while the people of Gauteng suffer at your own hands. What in fact we must be fumigating is the hollow words that you spoke here today, having delusions of grandeur, yet you've closed down 25 schools in Soweto, yet to talk about the doors of learning must be open. As if we could not be subjected to worse, the Honorable Dagmo chose to come here and insult the most successful premier in creating jobs. Honorable Dagmo, the unemployment rate and the ANC votes in the Western Cape went down directly proportional to each other. Whilst the Premier Windy was driving down unemployment rate and creating jobs in the Western Cape, you as the leader of the opposition were driving down the ANC votes. Clearly, Honorable Adams was correct to say you're the most skilled politician and you are indisputably the most skilled at losing votes. The less said about the Honorable Ndhlela, who came here dressed like a toy soldier and fake military gear, forgetting that the MK family business has chance to created a failed state for 9 years.
Thank you, honourable members. We cannot drown the speaker, please.
As the DA,
we cannot drown the speaper. Honourable Nodada,
your time has expired. We are committed to governmental of national unity. Take your ideas on board and you'll see success.
Thank you. Sit down. Mini John stays in. Sit down.
Thank you, House Chair. To say the facts honor delivered on the 6th of February was an anticlimax is a serious understatement. The party leader of the MK and myself, we went there with notebooks and pens hoping to take copious notes, but it was not to be. We thought Mr. Ramaphosa was going to start by giving an executive update on the progress made from his 2024 promises. Instead, he began pontificating about some 20 billion per year for transformation fund, and he carefully omitted to say where those funds would come from. As we speak here and now, South Africa is living from hand to mouth, and this leadership or people in the leadership position seem oblivious to this fact. Fellow South Africans, here are three very important realities. We have a widening fiscal deficit now projected to exceed over 5% of the GDP. Where's the 20 billion going to come from? We are sitting with a growing national debt expected to exceed well over 80% of the GDP by 2026. Where's the 20 billion going to come from? Rising inflation and increased cost of living forcing millions into deeper poverty, with poor households facing a disproportionate 11.3% increase in their food basket. We, as Umkhonto Wesizwe, the new government in waiting, we stand on behalf of the people of South Africa. We stand on behalf of traditional leaders, the unemployed millions of our people, the underpaid and exploited workers, black professionals who suffer racist treatment in workplaces, farm workers, all those who need a better life in this country, including white people. We declare that Umkhonto Wesizwe is a government in waiting ready to take over yesterday. I'm standing here today, amongst other things, to expose the lies. The MK party will not govern through lies and deceit, unlike the ANC-DA coalition and their fellow travelers in this coalition thing of theirs. We will not represent anything. We will not do what has been done here to misrepresent the Freedom Charter. we will state the Freedom Charter as it is. It is quite despicable that Mr. Ramaphosa comes here and talks about the Freedom Charter, but there's not one thing from the Freedom Charter that he has ever done. The Freedom Charter says the mineral wealth beneath the soil, the banks and monopoly industries shall be restored to the people. When we say this, they call us destroyers, they call us unconstitutional, and all these funny words. The Freedom Charter says the land shall be shared amongst those who work it. Our people work the land every day, and they are not having any share in the ownership. For us in the MK party, platitudes don't work. We see you. We will not falsely claim that there were 300 days without load shedding, when in reality it was disguised as load reduction, Comrade Sputla. Maybe there was no load shedding in the suburbs where the neoliberals in the GNU live. But in the township, people are struggling with the so-called load reduction. We will not manipulate statistics, Minister Nchaveni, as we have in the 2022 census, where the nation has been given a false claim that 82% of households have piped water. But Stats SA does not say that in those pipes that are there, some of those pipes are dry. Some of those pipes are spewing water you cannot drink. So that statistic is meaningless. We are not going to lie about the land reform. The Expropriation Act that everybody is talking about is not a progressive document, but just a tool to delay land reform. The term nil compensation is deceitfully used to confuse many in the ANC because they get easily confused. It's not the same thing as no compensation, fundamental difference. The people of South Africa are fortunate that the MK party is here to expose these monkey tricks. We will not pretend that apartheid is a thing of the past. When you look at the household income, the race element is very strong. Africans in the top quintile are only 13.7%. Coloreds are only 20.3%. Indians, 40%. And the whites in the top quintile are occupying 73%. Is this what united in our diversity should mean? You would have thought that with a statistic like that we'll have a situation where Employment Equity Act is going to be prioritized. This act
sorry,
was passed.
Honorable Mani, just a minute. Please, honorable members who are conversing aloud in this house, can we allow the speaker on the podium to be able to address the house? Thank you.
It's MK.
Mr. Speaker.
On what are you rising, honorable member? Can you check your seat?
Mr. Speaker.
On what are you rising?
Mr. Speaker, the speaker is totally not audible. We can't hear him. There's something wrong with the sound system. So if you could please address that and allow him to begin his speech again, please. You can't hear him. That's why members are trying to raise this point. You can't hear the speakers. There's something wrong with the sound system.
The problem is not the sound system, it's the content.
Or is it a sabotage?
Somebody is saying nothing.
Sabotaging our
There
chief.
is nothing wrong with the system.
We're starting afresh.
The problem is that Honorable Tutu Zuma did not approve that speech.
Chairperson, give him more time.
Honorable Mani.
The speech was not approved by Tutu Zuma. That's the
The speech.
Please, let us have.
He needs to start again, Mr. Speaker. We can't hear a thing.
Thank
You don't
you.
want to politically
Let him
cover
start from
over.
the beginning, Chair. We didn't hear.
The technical team will up the issue of the mic.
Nothing
there.
wrong. He's talking There's nothing wrong with the mic, Chairperson. It's the
We
content.
cannot even hear you,
We can hear
Mr.
him.
Speaker. We can't even hear you.
He's just talking
There's nothing wrong with the sound. We can hear him.
Honorable Zagute.
Hello. There's nothing wrong with the sound. We can hear him.
We didn't ask you though.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable House Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Honorable Lagute.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. All speakers were audible. I want to advise Honorable Manyi to come closer to the mic because his voice is too soft. We can't hear what he's saying, but we've been hearing all the other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Manyi.
Chairperson.
All right, you can
Only now when we rise and raise an objection, the audibility of the speaker is
Killing the
Honorable member. Honorable member.
making a plea.
Honorable member.
The speech
You are
against
downing the speaker. You are downing the speaker. Take your seat. Take your seat. You can only speak when I recognize.
this is not audible.
Please, take your
This
seat.
is not even audible, Chair.
Hello.
Don't touch that mic. Why are you touching it?
You can
Don't
only
touch
speak.
it. The issue is the content,
Chair, we
not the
cannot even
sound.
hear you. We can't even hear you.
You are downing the speaker yourself.
One, T.
So, the mic is clearly audible. The sound is clearly audible. Honorable Manyi, can you resume your speech, please? We are having 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes.
Give me time.
I've just made a ruling, Honorable Manyi. You have 2 minutes to go. All the other members were audible. The MKP were supposed to go closer to the mic. Please. Continue to speak.
He's used to acting in every part. This is not rehearsal, chaos.
Don't play to the gallery. Don't play to the gallery. Get on.
We can't even hear you, Chair.
Chair, we can hear him from here.
So, Chairperson, how much time am I adding? Are you adding? How much time are you adding? Don't play to the because it's here. It's not a technical problem. Confirm.
Now we can hear.
Uncle Kwete, kahle Uncle Kwete. Sit down, Uncle Kwete.
Liyaphela ixesha ngoku.
Kahle Uncle
Liyaphela
Kwete.
ixesha.
Jimanyo in the house.
Time is up.
Papa Penny.
All right.
Papa Penny.
The time which is here is 2 minutes.
Time is up. Time is up.
Yeah, 4 minutes. It's fine.
Okay. Deal.
Mafiki solo.
Okay. One would have thought. Okay. Here's another point of
Honorable Manyi,
order.
there's another point of order over there.
Honourable Chairperson, it is most certainly a point of order. If the Honourable Member at the podium is given an additional time allocation, we all want additional time allocation.
We can give you it's fine.
You have no authority to add on to his time. I listened to Honourable Manyi the whole time. I could hear what he was saying. And then they asked him to repeat his speech. You have no authority to add on to his time. If you give him more time, we want more time.
All right. Honorable Manyi.
Okay. Thank you.
Manyi.
Thank you, Chair. You are in
Honorable
charge here.
Manyi, I'm still have to make a ruling. Please take a seat. What is very important here is that a ruling has been made, and the ruling cannot be overruled in the House. I think what you are raising, the member from Action SA, please, you can write to the relevant office so that you raise the issue. So the issue of drowning was part of the House as a whole. So the ruling has been made. He's going to get those minutes which are given. Please, if you got anything, go back to the land. Thank you. Over to you, Honorable.
Long live the chair.
How many are those minutes? Minutes.
Yeah, we cannot hear you.
You're starting now.
Honorable Mantashe.
Sit down,
Honorable
Uncle
Mantashe, you
Kwete.
cannot,
Uncle
you cannot
Kwete.
speak without being
We cannot
recognized.
hear him,
Please.
Chair, from the
Honorable
back.
Why was the clock not stopped?
Even with the new mic, we cannot hear him.
Okay.
Kwete, shut up.
Chair.
Thank you. All right.
We cannot hear him, Chair.
I was saying,
Please say something this time.
the
Manye, there's another point of order.
okay,
Chief Whip of the
one more
opposition.
extra again, make it 5.
Official.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. My hand has been up for quite a while. Thank you for finally recognizing me. The first point that I want to make, Chair, is that in terms of Rule 57 on a point of order, the point of order needs to be raised at the time when the transgression occurs. So the members who did not hear the Honourable Manye should have stood up at the point when they couldn't hear him and not wait for 10 minutes for him to continue with his speech. But I will respect the fact that you made a ruling and we will challenge it. The actual reason why I'm standing, Honourable Chair, is in terms of Rule 40, and I want you to please read it with Rule 41, and that is with regards to gross disorderly conduct, and specifically Rule 40F. When members act in any other way that seriously, to the serious detriment of the dignity, decorum, and orderly procedure of the House. Read with Rule 41, which is where members are ordered to leave the chamber. I would like to ask you, what we've seen over the last while, over the last few minutes at least, was gross disorderly conduct in this House. And I would like to ask you to consider Rule 41, to ask those members who are responsible for that to leave the House if they continue with this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip of the TA. But you know very well the very same rules of the point of order is that when a ruling has been made, no other point of order can be raised on the same issue which is raised. So I'll allow Honorable Manye to continue with her speech. Thank you.
You should have raised the point when the issue was happening, not now.
Continue.
Procedure, Manye, ubeka ngokwakho, kuba man. Kuba mfondini. Kwete, this is not an ANC meeting.
The
Keep
point
quiet.
I was making
Honorable
is
Mantashe,
that
you
if
cannot
this-
speak without being recognized, please.
Kwete.
the point I was making is that if Mr. Ramaphosa was serious about transformation, there was an opportunity presented in the 6th administration where Employment Equity Act was passed somewhere around May 2022 by the 6th administration parliament. It got promulgated in May 2023. And then from there, and then from there it was never implemented. And it was just, it's been passed with all those amendments, just to get the votes. After the votes, it also stalled. It's only now in January that this act is now going to be unleashed. This just shows that Mr. Ramaphosa is not serious about transformation. We have an NDP here, a carefully crafted plan, poorly implemented, this NDP. It has missed all targets. It doesn't matter which target you look at, it has missed. So we're sitting here with a government that has got a radar that is off course. If we look at, for instance, the issue of employment target, the NDP said by 2030 would have reached unemployment of 6%. Where are we now? On the expanded definition, we're sitting at 41%. The 2030 on the poverty eradication, it said by 2030 we'll have zero poverty. We'll have eradicated it to zero. Where are we now? We're at 40%. When are we going to get to zero in the next 5 years? 2030 said we're going to reduce inequality. We've got the most embarrassing situation in this country, that the inequality under Mr. Ramaphosa is even worse than in apartheid days. Serious problem. This so-called GNU, if it was a GNU, it would have included the traditional leaders, it would have included all those people, but it excluded them. This is what the MKP party is going to do on land expropriation. We will table a private members bill. We will table a private members bill to do two things: expropriation without compensation, number one. Number two, we are going to push back that date of 19 June 1913 to 6 April 1652, when Jan van Riebeeck set foot here. That's what we're going to do. South Africa will shift in terms of its global relations. We will move away from the West and associate more with the BRICS. On higher education, we will make sure that we have a decolonized higher education for all. We will support the debt cancellation program that is being proposed here. We will cut out NSFAS as a middleman and make sure that government pays directly to the institutions concerned. We will ensure that there's parliament sovereignty, so that when parliament makes a decision, you don't have courts second-guessing what parliament has said.
Are you charging Dudu?
We reiterate our call from our Commander General, His Excellency President Zuma, the founding president of the MK party, that all progressive forces must unite so that we can defeat the monster. Mandla!
Dololo content. Dololo content.
Waste of 2 minutes.
All right, honorable members, I think that the speaker's list has been concluded. The speaker's list has been concluded.
It's a ruling. It's a ruling.
Honorable.
We have ruled on that.